Hi, how are you today? So in this video I'm going to share with you some vinyl that I recently picked up, some used vinyl. As I've mentioned before, I quite enjoy collecting vinyl. I've been collecting vinyl for many years. I'm not a vinyl purist. I don't think vinyl is the greatest form or the greatest medium to listen to music on. I think it sounds great. But when new releases come out, I tend to buy new releases on CD. I'm still quite a big CD person. However, having said that, I still love vinyl very much. And I've made videos in the past where I kind of complained about the crazy high prices for used vinyl. And I'm not talking about anything rare or unusual. I'm talking about used records that are not in very good shape. They're very scratchy and just not in good condition, and they're not that rare. And there are people out there charging crazy high prices for these old records that really aren't that rare and aren't that valuable, and they're not in very good condition, and that really tends to annoy me. However, it's good to see that there's still a number of vendors out there who sell vinyl for very good prices, sometimes $10 or less, or sometimes even $5 or less. And there's a couple of places like that in my town, and I'm very thankful that there are still places like that out there where I can buy vinyl pretty cheap. So here's just a quick rundown of some records that I recently added to my collection. So here, first of all, is Elton John Greatest Hits Volume 1, and this was released in the mid-70s. I grew up on Elton John. I was a big fan. My sister listened to him a lot, so I'm very familiar with Elton John, and I love his songs. I was fortunate enough to see an Elton John concert. I think it may have been maybe 14 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. He came and did a show in my local town, and it was fantastic. And I remember my sister had this record growing up, and she used to play it a lot, and I always loved his songs. Growing up in the 70s and the 80s, Elton John's music was on the radio all the time. And as much as there are people who don't like his music, I totally love his music, and I make no apologies for that. This record contains many of his biggest, earliest hits. Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting, Crocodile Rock, Your Song, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, all of those great classics. So that's Elton John's greatest hits. And I also have Tom Jones with Move Closer. Yeah, I was a big fan of this album in high school. This would have been like late 80s, around 1988, 1989. And I especially loved his song Kiss, the cover he did of the Prince song, which was produced by The Art of Noise. And I still think that is an amazing track, an amazing cover. And this is the album that includes that cover, Move Closer. Yeah, and I had this on CD for many years, so I was very happy to find it on vinyl. Tom Jones, Move Closer. And he also has a cover of I Can't Get No Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones on this. I think there are different producers for every track. Sometimes that happened back in the day, but yeah, overall a fun album. Really happy to have it on vinyl. And here we have another Elton John record. And as you can see, the price tag is still up there. I bought this for the grand total of $4. This is Breaking Hearts. This is the album that included his hits, Sad Songs Say So Much, Who Wears These Shoes. This was released in 1984, and those songs take me right back. That was a really great year. A lot of great music came out that year. And yeah, again, I had this on cassette for many years and was very happy to find it on vinyl. And this is Sherry Keane, an album called People Talk. Now, if you're not Canadian like me, if you didn't grow up in Canada like me, you may not be familiar with Sherry Keane. She had a bunch of hits back in the day that were played a lot on Canadian radio. She had a track called Would You Miss Me? And her biggest hit, I think, was called I Want You Back. And it was on this album. That song is included on this album, People Talk. And as you can see, I paid $3 for this record. Really a great bargain. She had a wonderful voice. Her songs had a really fresh sound to them, very big, very polished. And even as a kid, I really was quite entranced by her sound and thought she was really cool. So I'm very happy to get this one, Sherry Keane, People Talk. And this one, I haven't even listened to this one yet, but it's a 3-disc set. It's called 55 Original Hits. And basically it came out in the late 70s. And yeah, so it's a 3 LP set. I got this for $6. And it's got a lot of songs on it from sort of the 60s. A lot of great radio classics from that time. Stuff like Party Doll by Buddy Knox, Young Girl by Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. A lot of classic stuff like that from sort of the late 50s and into the 60s. And I love that genre of music. And actually the next record I'm going to show you ties into that genre very well. So yeah, I was really excited and happy to find this. I love listening to oldies in my car, so I'm really looking forward to checking this out. 55 original hits. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this was intended mostly for the Canadian market. The address of the record label on the back is in Canada only, and another telltale sign is it's bilingual. So you see over here it says 3 records, but it also says disque, which is French for records. So a good indicator that it was intended for the Canadian market. And finally, this one, Keep On Rockin'. This is, for me, is an absolute classic. This was one of those albums that were advertised on TV. It came out, I think, in 1986, 1987, somewhere around there. And there was this crazy commercial for it on TV. And back in those days, before the internet, there was a 1-800 number. You could call the 1-800 number and order this with your credit card. And basically, this is also a multi-disc set. So this one is 4 records, and it is jam-packed with all kinds of great stuff. Mostly hits from the 60s. Stuff like Time Has Come Today, People Gotta Be Free, Mellow Yellow. This thing is just absolutely loaded with all kinds of 60s gold, and I absolutely love it. I actually bought this brand new back in like 1987 when I was a teenager, but I bought it on cassette, okay? And that was a 2 cassette collection. But what I noticed eventually is that the version that was released on album, which I am showing you now, it had about 10 or 12 more songs than the cassette version. And I didn't know this for many years. I just found this out not that long ago. So when I saw that, I was immediately intrigued. So I thought, that looks really cool. And I kind of always wanted the compilation on vinyl anyway. And when I found out that the vinyl version had more songs, that only made it even more appealing to me. So I ordered this one online, Keep On Rockin'. And if you're into 60s music, you will absolutely love this. It's honestly, I think it's probably my all-time favorite compilation ever. Every compilation record or recording that I've ever owned, I think this one is at the top of the list. I absolutely love this one. So again, if you're into 60s music, you'll love this. So those are some recordings that I recently bought on vinyl. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Feel free to give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, and as always, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do. Every time someone subscribes, it really helps my channel grow. Thank you so much. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.